We just got some new information on Spot XRP ETF that all but guarantees they are about to launch. I'm going to go through what those news and updates are. We also had Brad Garlinghouse recently at Swell commenting on how important ETFs are going to be. I've also ran some numbers on what we can expect price-wise for XRP once these ETFs get approved. Let's go ahead and go through what we know, and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen here as well. So Eric Bahamas says 21 shares just dropped an 8 form for their Spot XRP ETF, 20 days on the clock. This is when we know it's about to happen. Once this 8-A form is filed, they have 20 days before it goes into effect. The only thing that can stop this is if the SEC intervened themselves. And we're talking about a free and fair and open market. They just let the Litecoin and HBAR ETFs go through. Denying XRP ETFs would be a very bad signal to the industry that they are picking winners and losers again. And I don't think we want to replay those years, right? And so everybody's talking about this. 21 shares just filed for XRP with the SEC. You have the Franklin Templeton Spot XRP ETF code. The trading is going to be XRPZ, is now listed on the DTCC website. You are seeing, here's more information on Spot XRP ETF aiming to trade on the New York Stock Exchange. ACRA holds XRP directly. The custody company will be Coinbase Trust. Uses CME CFXRP USD benchmark for pricing. 0.19% sponsor fee waived for the first 5 billion assets under management. Listen, they are preparing here for a lot of money to come into Spot products. The thing you know when this is about to happen, once you start getting the tickers listed and you start getting the fees, you know we are just days and moments away from something that we have been begging for such a long time. This is such an exciting time to be an XRP holder. Let's get it. And then of course, more information, more people are talking about this. Eleanor Tarrant did say Canary Funds has filed for an updated S1 for its XRP Spot ETF, removing the delaying amendment that stops a registration from going auto effective and gives the SEC control over timing. This sets Canary XRP ETF for launch date of around November 13th. We're starting to see a lot of things happening late in that week. I think November 13th to Thursday. And also I'm hearing a lot of things that are going to be happening on the following week, Monday and Tuesday. The government reopening could affect the timing, obviously, but I think we're good here. And then even Canary Capital itself is now posting about this XRPC coming soon. They wouldn't be marketing it if they didn't think it was coming. So here is a complete update and everything that we need to know. 21 shares Spot XRP ETF. The amendment was filed on November 7th, starting the 20-day clock. If the SEC does not object, automatic effectiveness occurs around the 27th. Franklin Templeton Amendment number 3 was filed on November 4th, indicating readiness to launch imminently. Language could delay approval has been removed. So I guess there was some language in there that could have delayed the approval. They removed that language and now we're good to go. And then Canary and Bitwise ETF both have updated their S1 filings, removing delay amendments, aiming for November launches. So it all should kick off right here this month in November. What a great holiday this could be for everybody here in the States and globally. Not sure what other holidays happen in November, but we have Thanksgiving in November here towards the end of the month. And then of course, Christmas in December. So very excited to celebrate this. It's almost a whole year gone by. So much information we've covered on this channel, but I'm just so thankful to be on this journey with you guys. It's been so much fun. Thank you. All right. And then of course, expected assets under management, early projections and inflows. Analysts expect initial flows of at least $1 billion of institutional capital within the first weeks of trading. This outlook is based on recent altcoin ETF launches, such as the Spot ETF for Solana, attracted $400 million in the debut week. And then Franklin Templeton, we did see 5 billion assets under management. There's what they're expecting. And then of course, XXRP leverage product already attracted $306 million in assets. Of course, these Spot products are the most important that we need to see. All right, let me play this for Brad Garlinghouse explaining why this institutional interest for Spot XRP and other Spot products is so important for the days to come, right?
I think anytime you are seeing the kind of trust and institutional dynamic of an ETF, making it easier to access and bringing capital into the XRP ecosystem, that's good. It's not lost upon me. ETH as a token was kind of lagging the market in terms of the overall market activity in the spring. But then the ETH ETFs went live and ETH went on a tear. I don't think that's a big surprise. You saw people easier access coming in. I think first ETH ETF, grew to $1 billion, very, very quickly. I can't remember the exact timeline, but I think you're going to see that happen in the XRP ecosystem. ecosystem because there's a lot of demand from people who don't have the skill set or interest in launching a Coinbase account or what have you, and they want to have exposure to this asset class. So I think it's overdue. It's frustrating that some of these things have taken so long, but I'm not yet saying it's going to happen next week. I know people on the panels have said it's happening next week. I've heard that said before, so I'm not going to count on it, but it's obviously very, very soon, and I think that's good for the industry.
You talked a little bit earlier about how you want to be at the intersection of traditional.
All right, so the last part is something different about ETFs, not about ETFs. Don't really want to waste your time on that. We are going to just be talking about specifically what else is happening. So here you go. Wisdom Tree, physical, CoinDesk 20 spot ETF, Bitcoin 30%, Ethereum 21%, XRP 19%, Solana 13%. So this is interesting. So Wisdom Tree, physical, CoinDesk 20 spot ETF, you're seeing XRP higher than Solana here. I find that interesting because I'm always looking at what other products are coming forward to the market. How are they building those products? What represents what? And you're starting to see XRP, obviously the momentum from the XRP community. I still believe that there is no community in the crypto space, for that matter, for a lot of things around the world, that shows up like the XRP community does. Solana doesn't have that, right? They have all of these people trading meme coins and stealing from each other, but they don't have a certain class of people that show up every day to support the ecosystem, that try to educate people, that kind of attack the industry. And I've never seen anything like it. And so here's Nate Garossi. He says Wisdom Tree files for CoinDesk 20 ETF, which holds 20 of the largest digital assets by market cap that are eligible for the inclusion of the index. It's clear CoinDesk aggressively seeking to position within crypto indexing space. So this is probably one of many more to come. And then of course we have seen these clips with Paul Barron and Stephen McClurg. This is the Canary Capital CEO talking about what he believes is going to go into spot XRP products. Let's just play this real quick.
What is the likelihood of the timing for this right now?
I would guess that XRP would probably be this year. Eric or James from Bloomberg simply said, well, if there's futures at Coinbase, then you probably get an ETF in 2025.
Your statement at that time was $5 billion in the first month. Are you still holding to that? Do you think that's a possibility?
I really am. I would say after Bitcoin, XRP is probably the most well-known on Wall Street and on finance circles. And then ETH is actually probably number 3. So if you think about it that way, I do believe that XRP could potentially outperform ETH just from pure financial services standpoint.
Could you imagine the spot XRP ETF doing bigger numbers than Ethereum? That would send a shot. That would send a shock wave through Wall Street, saying that the XRP community has shown up, will show up, and will continue to show up to support this asset class. And institutions and Wall Street, come on in. We've missed you. We've wanted you here. Now let's all grow this together. All right, so this is the CEO of Crypto.com. This is an older clip, but this is what he believes is going to happen with spot XRP ETFs. Let's play it.
Of years, I think altcoins that have strong flows will outperform. I don't know if you guys seen this, but there's a forecast saying that the ETF for XRP is going to attract 8 billion of inflows next year. So you can imagine what kind of impact that may have. And in terms of what we're doing, I think we have a very clear, differentiated, exciting strategy that nobody else is pursuing and nobody else can compete with us on. That's very unique. So we will build it, and I hope you guys join along for this.
We will build it, and hopefully you guys will come along for the ride. So let's take a look here. What type of price expectations should we have here? I wanted to take a look at recent market cap multipliers because that is obviously a part of this. How much XRP is available on exchanges, how big that market cap multiplier can be. Just over the last maybe few months, we've seen multipliers as high as 272. Most analysts predict market cap multipliers would be between 50x and 300x. And so I used those numbers. And so I said, if $5 billion or $10 billion were to go into spot XRP ETF products, and we had a 50x, 100x, and 250x multiplier, what could that do to the price? And here are those numbers, guys. And I know maybe people are thinking maybe this is going to be a lot higher, or the market cap multiplier could be a lot higher. All good. I'm just using what the average analysts are predicting, and I'm trying to provide that information. I think the market cap multiplier could be a whole lot lower too if institutions decide to start flooding the market with XRP to sell it, but we'll go ahead and play this play by play. So here's $5 billion, here's 10 billion, here's the market caps, the multipliers, the additional in market cap this would add to it. And so this would be an additional $25 on the $2.50 that we've seen. So this would be just under $30. I definitely think something like this is possible, anywhere from $10 to $30. And of course, if all the other stuff that certain analysts and certain people think could happen over the next 2 months, if that plays out, obviously this price could go higher, but we're just talking about ETF demand. What are we going to see in the short time span of the next few months? Those numbers are what Stephen Clark and a lot of other experts have predicted. So there you have it. And then, of course, the ETF era in crypto. Matt Hewlin, let's play it.
Absolutely. We think there's demand for exposure to a large number of those altcoins. I think that you'll see assets like XRP and other major assets get their ETFs relatively soon. We've seen filings from the SEC, not talking about any specific filing, but we've seen those moving through the system. We're going to wake up in 6 months and investors are going to be able to use high quality, low cost ETFs to access the top 10, maybe top 20 ETFs. And then the next exciting thing beyond that is you're going to start to see ETFs that package those together in diversified exposures. Those index-based ETFs, I actually think could be one of the surprises of the market. I could think they could be bigger even than the Ethereum ETF. So there is definitely more coming from Bitwise. We've entered the ETF era of crypto, and I think that's a very good thing for investors.
Man, that scared the crap out of me. It was so loud. I do apologize, but holy smokes, I'm deaf right now. I cannot hear. That was way too loud. Okay, Ripple scraps IPO talk despite legal clarity. So we did see a lot of conversation around Ripple not being interested in IPOing. Brad Garlinghouse was asked like 5 times this in the last week, and almost every interview that he did. Ripple is not interested in IPO. Don't expect it anytime soon. You're also seeing a big step forward in smart contracts on the XRP ledger. This should be just something else that I'm going to be providing a lot more detail in the days ahead. So if you want to learn this, make sure that you're following, you're subscribed, you got the bell notification turned on. It says big steps towards smart contracts on the XRP ledger. Still early. Let me explain. Why smart contracts on the XRP ledger and what does it mean for the ecosystem? And so these are the additional benefits here. Advanced institutional products and services on chain, prediction markets, innovation AMM lending protocols, no more amendments for every single feature we need, just code it in and deploy. High security for XRP ledger because less protocol changes needed. Liquidity can be monetized and guarded by banks, institutions, and retail projects. Privacy protocols, list goes on and on. There are more use cases than characters allowed for my X post. Truth, the XRP ledger will move in warp speed into the DeFi while guarding its core principles. Institutions can choose the XRP ledger and build their toolbox they need instead of choosing other solutions elsewhere. The combination of programmability via smart contracts and fixed functions built into the XRP ledger allow for a competitive edge towards chains only based on programs. This is a new era, so this could be very exciting for the XRP ledger. And Phil Kwok says smart contracts will bring a ton of value to XRP. If you're not a developer, that's all you need to know. Okay, thanks, dude. Appreciate you sharing. Okay. And then Crypto Darren says Flare plus Ripple and Palisade Financial SAS software as a service, crypto custody. Ripple bought Palisade, but these custody integrations will turn into something great with Flare and Ripple working together. ODL plus F assets and custody solutions equals something great. Palisade.company. So here's your complete update. I threw a little bit of other news towards the end, guys. Let me know what you think. Are you pumped up? Are you ready? Are you excited? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time. I'm Crypto Sensei. Aloha. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.